Indra. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6. Rishi Madhuchandas Vaishwamitra. Devata Indra Maruta. Chandas Gayatri. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6. Rik 1.
युञ्जन्ति भ्रद्रमारुषं चरन् तं परितस्तुषाः रोचन्ते रोचनाजिः.
The yoked flaming horse wandering about in stables shine the bright sky in heaven. Theme and functionality of the sun as Indra. The theme stressed upon in this verse is that the sun, referred to as the flaming horse, is yoked, which means to say that its path of movement is predetermined. This corresponds to the contemporary cosmological understanding that the sun orbits our galactic center. Its movement not being at a uniform speed nor along a straight path due to the constantly changing gravitational pulls of the multitudes of celestial bodies in the galaxy that themselves are in motion, it is appropriately termed a wandering. Its movement confined to a broad swath of toroidal space due to the mentioned constraints, it is further said to be wandering about in stables. Perhaps the massive black hole at the center of our galaxy is the Indra of the galaxy that regulates the movement of the sun, just as the sun itself is the Indra of the solar system that herds its family of planets and retinue of asteroids and comets in its wake, in addition to making them orbit around itself. In a sense, the verse declares that divinities have thematic mandates to fulfill within the constraints of their functionalities. Vedic compositions give preeminence to functionality. It can be argued that for the sake of clarity, the use of metaphors in them may be avoided. But their use ensures two other functionalities, that of adhering to meter or chandas, which is a necessity for their error-free transmission across many generations spanning eons, and instilling a sense of belonging with the gods or natural forces, they being visualized in our own form. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 2.
युञ्जन्त्यस्य काम्याहरि विपक्षसारथे सोनाधृष्णो नृवाहसा
Yoke his forceful, discerning, desirable pair of steeds by opposite sides in chariot, by carriers. The curious case of one composition and multiple addressals. Assuming that the Indra mentioned in this verse is the one who regulates Earth's atmosphere, then the non-mentioned charioteers who yoke the steeds of Indra to his chariot would be the personified divinities representing the forces of energy, Agni, and movement, Vayu. Regulating the spinning of the earth around its axis, causing day and night, must also be a function of his mandate. The similarity in the characteristics of fractality in both the Vedic description of Earth's regulatory system and the current cosmological viewpoint in the context of the spin of the Earth is quite interesting. Cosmology attributes the spins of all celestial bodies that have been created from a nebula, which is a giant cloud of dust and gas, to have the same direction as that of the original cloud. Almost all bodies of our solar system, including the Sun, have the same direction of spin. There are, of course, exceptions, like the planet Venus, but explanations are forthcoming to account for the anomaly within the framework of the general scheme. The angular momentum of the nebular cloud is apportioned to all aggregates that are formed from it, proportionate to their mass. This is similar to the notion of the Indra of the nebular cloud incarnating in lesser avatars with identical mandates to regulate aggregates of matter that form out of the cloud, specific to their composition and evolution thereon. The Earth's atmospheric Indra regulates his domain in a manner that accounts for the inconsistencies caused by the motions of our planet, the variations in cosmic propositions, and happenings on Earth for the benefit of its inhabitants. Those who composed and later recited these hymns regularly at sacrifices can be said to have lived knowledge, as scientists of the present era do. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 3.
केतुम् गण्वन्न केतवेपेशो मल्या अपेशसे समुषद्भिरजायथाः
Creating faculty of perception for unconscious, may you bestow clarity, form to formless. You were born together with dawns. Diurnal humans and their pantheon of gods. Light, figuratively or literally, is absolutely essential for awareness in the material world. Neuroscience postulates that when the body awakens in the morning each day, the brain first establishes the boundaries between what constitutes the material self and the environment, and then proceeds with the chores of the day, an exercise that is comparable to being born. A parallel to this notion is expressed in this verse. The hazy, unclear state of dreams, or the obliviousness of dreamless sleep, is extirpated by the first ray of light of dawn that transforms the formless to being distinct and coherent. That we figuratively take birth at each awakening, becoming aware of the material world, is the bestowal of the gods and their king, Indra, who make day and night happen, administer and operate the light-activated circadian rhythms within our bodies, and make us live the lives we do. It reminds us of our kinship with nature and its forces, and also to the Creator. If light can be figuratively equated to knowledge, then knowledge too performs exactly the same role as does light. Though Indra is at work day or night, allowing for the bias that naturally diurnal humans will have for their own kind and their way of daylight attuned life, one can understand Indra's nighttime exertions not being given much importance, and also of dawn, Usha, being given an exalted place in the pantheon of goddesses, and dusk not as much. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 4.
आदहस्वधामनुपुनर्गर्भत्वमेरिणे दधानानाम यज्ञियम्.
Then surely, acting in spontaneity, caused again impregnation, holding sacrificial name. The firmamental incubatory. The process of cloud nucleation for copious rainfall is referred to in this mantra. Maruts are manifestations of Vayu, and they assist Indra in bringing moist clouds together to incubate them to a state where they precipitate water vapor, causing rain. The libations and the reverberations of the mantras too are carried to the interior of the clouds by the assistance of Indra, the Maruts, to impregnate them in the firmamental incubatory. Hence, they are venerated. As can be seen from this description, the activity of cloud nucleation too has this non-invasive, all-embracive approach of involving the forces of nature in conscious self-abnegation for the benefit of all life forms. The most important ingredient for the sustenance of life upon earth being water. Much was sought to be wrought through the combination of sound, matter, and cooperative intent, and perhaps was, and very successfully. The watchwords for any existential transaction in the Sanatani way of life was non-exploitation and self-abnegation, qualities that they perceived in the atmospheric system and in the cow, resulting in their deification, veneration, and the active endeavor to protect and sustain both. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 5.
ीरुचिदारुजग्नभिर्गुहाचिदिन्द्रवह्निभिः अविन्दमुसृजानो
With breakers of even the strong, with maruts even by hiding place, Indra, you discovered shining herds along after. A volcanic eruption and its possible aftermath. This is perhaps a legend based on the factual eruption of a large volcano. It's spewing out hundreds of kilotons of ash and lava, with ash spreading through the troposphere to large parts of the world, causing an appreciable decrease in the sun's luminosity as seen from Earth, and consequently disrupting atmospheric balance for years. With time, the action of strong winds, or maruts, along with other regulatory components of the atmospheric system, restored clear skies and eliminated air toxicity. With the sky over large parts of the inhabited world being volcanic ash laden, visibility of stars in the night sky would have been entirely compromised. Perhaps the shining herds being hidden away by a demon, the volcanic ash, refers to this, or to the paucity of rain clouds due to a disrupted water cycle. Indra, with the assistance of various wind streams, slowly dismantled this ash cover and restored order. The significant decrease in sunlight and the consequent decrease in water vapor creation from the oceans and resulting cloud formation would have had an appreciable decrease in rainfall and would have reduced Earth's surface temperatures to very uncomfortable levels. The last recorded volcanic eruption of this magnitude that disrupted atmospheric processes globally was the one at Mount Toba in Indonesia that is supposed to have blotted out the sun for a couple of months about 72,000 years ago. Such trying conditions would have been reason enough for the legend to have been born, and upon restoration of normalcy, the glory of the atmospheric regulatory system to be eulogized. Even without a legend buttressing it, the capability of the system is fascinating enough. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 6.
वयन्तो यथा मतिमच्छा विदद्मसुङ्गिराः महामानोषतः श्रुतम्.
Moving divinities have roared so, thought, words, wealth of wisdom to the mighty object of hearing. The Marut host and the grouping of winds. Winds and wind streams indeed roar in the truest sense, while the gentle ones at least whisper. From the perspective of contemporary atmospheric science, the troop of Maruts could be corresponded with categorization of winds. The primary grouping of winds is as prevailing winds and geostrophic winds. The first of these is further categorized as polar easterlies, westerlies, horse latitude winds, maritime trade winds, continental trade winds, and doldrums, numbering 6. The second of the primary group is classified as jet streams, hurricanes, typhoons, tornadoes, cyclones, and blizzards, numbering 6 again. These winds, their origin, strength, and area of operations are subject to variations in contours of terrain, latitudes of operation, and other terrestrial and atmospheric peculiarities, and could be subdivided further accordingly. The number of maruts, on the other hand, vary from 11 to 27 to 60 to 180. Perhaps 11 is the primary level grouping and 180 their variations at the lowest level. It will be interesting to decipher their Sanskritam appellations to figure out their individual characteristics and correspond them to contemporary grouping. The movement of life forms across the globe has been aided by winds since times immemorial. They have also aided rejuvenation with their destructive abilities. From the standpoint of an all-encompassing, interdependent, and inclusive world, surely do they qualify to be acknowledged. So does the one who maintains equilibrium between these diverse forces and coordinates their functionalities, the maestro Indra. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 7.
इन्द्रेण संहिदृक्षसे सञ्जग्मानो अविद्युषा बन्धूसमानवर्चसा.
Together with Indra, you surely will see, being in motion together with the fearless, thus rapturous, with equal splendor. Cyclical seasons of tranquility and turbulence. This verse emphasizes the interdependence between the fearless Maruts and Indra in their perpetual march together towards fulfilling their assigned roles. It further asserts that they operate in tandem. If one were to imagine seeing a horde of low-flying dark clouds accompanied by deafening thunder, blinding lightning, and the eerie roar of high-speed winds, or the combination of destructive swirling forces of a gargantuan typhoon, the two immediate feelings that the sight instills in the observer is that of unsuppressed fear and unbounded awe towards the might and sense of purpose of these phenomena. This is why the Maruts, who cause thunder, lightning, mighty winds, and the swirling devastators at the behest of their chief, Indra, are called fearless. The adjective fearless is a mortal imposition, which is a deliberative reaction peculiar to them. The immortals are designed to work in spontaneity without pondering over consequences. Despite being agitated by the sight of the Maruts and Indra in action, a wise mortal observer, understands too that these phenomena and others of their ilk are necessary participants in the regulatory process of the atmosphere, upon which the wellness of the earth and that of the observer's own depends. These periodic atmospheric disturbances are also an experiential reiteration of the truth that all natural processes are cyclical. If there is a season of tranquility, there will surely be a term of turbulence to follow. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 8.
अनवद्यैरभिद्योभिर्वकः सहस्वदर्चति गणैरिन्द्रस्य काम्यैः.
The one who is fit to be worshipped powerfully roars with the irreproachable heavenly desirable hosts of Indra. The celestial parade with cannon salute. The epithet, the one who is fit to be worshipped, refers to Indra, while irreproachable applies to the desirable heavenly hosts of Indra, the Maruts. It brings to mind the smart and impeccable march past of a contingent of an elite unit of the armed forces saluting their supreme commander at a national event. Here, Indra and his retinue salute their supreme commander, the Creator. It is interesting to note that thunder, like the boom of a cannon, and lightning that causes it, like the flashes of bright light accompanying the firing of a cannon, do correlate to the actions of Indra and the Maruts. Lightning occurs when wind causes air and gaseous water in clouds to rub against each other, resulting in an electric charge buildup. Its discharge to the earth is lightning. The discharge causes air along its path to rapidly expand, generating sound waves, which are heard as thunder. Both phenomena can be seen to be attributable to the regulatory system wind combine, that can be described as a salute by this combine to the Creator. The observers on earth, who are also the recipients of the bounties conferred by Indra and the Maruts, rejoice too and applaud the immaculate march past of the immortals up in the mid-regions and heaven, and gratefully acknowledge the spectacle and the life-sustaining bounty. This glorious celestial parade is held regularly by the immortal folk to instill confidence and hope in the minds of the ever apprehensive and intrinsically uncertain mortals. The fractal expression of the universe is not restricted to material manifestations alone. They seem to be equally well exhibited in the psychological processes of mortals too. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 9.
अतः परिज्वन्नाग हि दिवो वा रोचनादधि समस्मिन् वृञ्जते गिराः.
Therefore, omnipresent, do move from heaven or from the firmament about together. Words spring from within him. Mortals and their unintended follies. This is the clearest mention that Indra, representing the regulatory system of the atmosphere, which includes the forces that cause the host of winds, the Maruts, operate beyond the atmosphere as well. It further alludes to the supra-terrestrial presence of Indra and the Maruts, mentioning that they must come from heaven or from the firmament, which in turn alludes to the fractal nature of creation. Indra and the Maruts are functional entities that may and do manifest variously according to situations, but functionally they are the same everywhere in existence. Upon terra firma, we see their expression as articulations of the atmosphere. Asking an omnipresent entity to come from or go to anywhere is surely being oxymoronic. But it can be overlooked because, upon experiencing the blissful ecstasy of truth, such aberrant speech is an expected outcome. Also, being mortals, we will always be wedded to our material bodies and our frame of reference, which is earth. The composer exonerates himself from culpability by including the caveat that all words spring from the omnipresent. The gods are indeed kind, as they let us get away with many, if not most, unintended follies. Mandalam 1, Suktam 6, Rik 10.
दितो वा सातिमीमहे दिवो वा पार्थिवादधि इन्द्रम् महो वारजसः.
We desire Indra's help either from here or from heaven or from the vast active region above the earth. The impulsion unknown that animates existence. The Suktam is concluded expressing the desire that the functional entities comprising of Indra and the Maruts grant us well-being from whichever region they operate from. This too can be considered an allusion to the notion of interdependence between the three regions mentioned, and which can be extended to the entire universe. This truth is encapsulated in the story told to children that a sneeze of a grasshopper in one part of the world was the cause for the abdication of a king in another. The three regions are also an allusion to the three states of mind that are complementary to the three basic qualities of nature: intellectually inactive and hence wedded to routine, corresponding to earth; intellectually very active and so given to inconstancy, impulsivity, and irrationality, comparable to the atmosphere or mid-region; intellectually balanced, given to neither of the two extremes, analogous to outer space or heaven. The verse is a call for help to Indra, realizing mortal limitations to attain that ideal for temporals mentioned in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. The verse is an admission of the realization that mortal intent alone is not an adequate impulsion for the accomplishment of an aim. There is something more beyond mortal reach that makes things happen. It has been accorded many epithets across eras, such as grace, time, karma, supreme will, script of existence, or just the unknown. Oh.